to Gray Matters with Doc W. I'm your host, a PhD psychologist, teacher, and mentor with over 30 years of experience. As the holidays bring us together, we're bound to encounter challenging, politically sensitive conversations. That's where our show comes in, where red and blue mix to create a thoughtful gray area. Our AI-generated discussions offer a calm, respectful approach to tough topics, allowing both progressive and conservative viewpoints to be presented fairly. Today, we'll be exploring the complex issue of climate change. So let's dive in and listen to what our AI participants, James, an environmental scientist specializing in renewable energy research, and Emily, an agricultural economist who works with farmers on sustainable practices, have to say on this hot-button topic. Our goal here at Gray Matters is to foster understanding and open dialogue with the ones we love.
Emily, it's fantastic to see you. I've been looking forward to catching up with you. I'm sure you've been making waves at work with the farmers. Tell me all about your recent successes and challenges. I'm eager to hear how you've been applying your expertise to revolutionize agricultural practices. No doubt you've been instrumental in implementing cutting-edge techniques. So, what's the latest innovation you've introduced? I bet the farmers are thrilled to have someone as capable as you guiding them.
It's been ages, James. Life's been a whirlwind, you know how it goes. The farming community's really feeling the pinch lately. Costs are through the roof, and the weather's all over the place. I bet your work in renewable energy is more relevant than ever now, right?
It does feel overwhelming at times. The scale of the challenge is immense, and we're racing against the clock. We've seen progress in renewable energy, but implementing it widely remains a significant hurdle. I wonder how farmers are coping with the effects of climate change. Their experiences could offer valuable insights into the real-world impacts we're facing.
Farmers are really trying to adapt, but it's challenging. They're facing droughts, floods, and unpredictable growing seasons that are taking a toll. Many of them are open to sustainable practices. But the problem is that a lot of the proposed solutions are costly and don't always align with their specific needs. In my opinion, we should concentrate on developing practical, localized solutions. What are your thoughts on this?
Localized solutions are crucial, but we can't ignore the need for systemic change. Take agriculture, for instance. It's a major contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, especially with methane from livestock. If we don't tackle that issue, we're overlooking a significant piece of the climate puzzle. That being said, I believe farmers should receive support to make these necessary changes more affordable and feasible for them.
I agree that farmers need support. They're eager to be part of the climate solution, but they require the right tools and resources. Take cover crops and no-till farming, for example. These practices are excellent for reducing emissions, but they come with significant upfront costs that many small farms struggle to afford. That's where the government should step in, providing assistance for these transitions. However, it's crucial that we avoid imposing heavy-handed regulations that don't take into account the unique local circumstances. We need a balanced approach that supports farmers while addressing environmental concerns.
That's a fair point. Policy needs to be flexible, but it also needs to act swiftly. In my line of work, we're exploring ways to incorporate renewable energy into rural areas. We're looking at things like solar farms, wind turbines, and bioenergy projects. These initiatives could provide farmers with additional income streams and help reduce emissions. However, one of the major challenges we face is the lack of proper infrastructure. I'm curious, what's the general sentiment among farmers regarding renewable energy? Are they open to these ideas, or are there concerns?
The situation's complicated. There's a mix of opinions out there. Some farmers are eager to lease their land for wind turbines, seeing it as a new source of income. But others have concerns. They're worried about how these turbines might affect their fields in the long run, or how they'll change the appearance of their property. When it comes to solar, the main issue is the cost. Installing those panels isn't cheap. At the end of the day, farmers are pragmatic folks. They're open to new technologies, but only if they make financial sense and don't interfere with their day-to-day farming operations.
I understand your point. However, we must also consider the consequences of not taking action. Climate-related catastrophes such as hurricanes and wildfires are already costing us billions of dollars each year, and those expenses are ultimately borne by taxpayers. By investing in solutions now, we could potentially save a significant amount of money in the future. It's not just about immediate costs, but also about long-term financial prudence and sustainability.
I agree that we need to consider both environmental and economic factors. Green policies can have short-term costs, but we must weigh those against the long-term benefits. We should explore ways to implement sustainable practices without overburdening small businesses, like local farms. And we can't forget low-income families, like many farm workers. Perhaps we could consider phased approaches, targeted subsidies, or incentive programs to ease the transition. The key is finding a balance that protects our environment while supporting economic stability for all segments of society.
One approach to address climate change is implementing carbon pricing. This system would require polluters to pay for their emissions. The revenue generated could then be used to offset increased costs for consumers. Such a policy would encourage innovation in cleaner technologies and hold major emitters accountable for their environmental impact. What are your thoughts on this strategy? Do you think it could be effective in reducing emissions while balancing economic concerns?
In theory, it sounds like a solid plan, but when you look at the reality, it's often the rural areas that take the biggest hit. That's because they tend to have more energy-hungry industries. I believe we'd be better off focusing on encouraging cleaner practices through incentives. Take precision agriculture, for instance. It's a great way for farmers to cut down on waste and emissions without having to shoulder the burden of additional taxes.
Precision agriculture is a fantastic concept, demonstrating how technology can contribute to solutions. However, we mustn't overlook the necessity of moving away from fossil fuels. The fossil fuel industry has benefited from subsidies for many years. By reallocating a portion of those funds to clean energy, we could create a more balanced competition in the energy sector.
Fossil fuels continue to offer dependable and cost-effective energy on a scale that renewable sources haven't yet achieved. I acknowledge the need for modernizing our power grid, but we mustn't completely abandon fossil fuels until we have viable alternatives in place. A hasty transition could potentially disrupt energy markets and lead to instability. We need to approach this shift carefully, balancing our environmental goals with the practical realities of our current energy needs.
All right, let's consider our options. We need a balanced approach to address climate change, one that's effective but doesn't leave vulnerable populations in the lurch. Perhaps we could start by incentivizing green technologies and sustainable practices across industries. At the same time, we should invest in job training programs to help workers transition from fossil fuel-dependent sectors to renewable energy fields. It's crucial that we also focus on making eco-friendly alternatives affordable and accessible to everyone, not just the wealthy. And let's not forget about developing countries. We need to support their sustainable development without hindering their economic growth. This is a complex issue, but if we approach it thoughtfully and collaboratively, we can find solutions that work for both the planet and its people.
We should consider expanding programs that assist farmers in adopting sustainable practices. Things like cover crops and renewable energy projects could be really beneficial. I think government grants or low-interest loans would make a significant impact in helping farmers transition to these methods. It's important to support our agricultural community while also promoting environmental stewardship. By providing financial incentives, we could encourage more widespread adoption of these sustainable farming techniques.
I concur. Modernizing our energy infrastructure is crucial. We must upgrade the grid to effectively incorporate renewable sources such as wind and solar power. This investment would bring advantages to both rural and urban areas alike. By enhancing our energy systems, we can create a more sustainable and efficient future for all communities.
Absolutely. We should also consider funding research into technologies like carbon capture and precision agriculture. These innovations could potentially reduce emissions significantly without causing major disruptions to existing farming productivity. It's important to explore solutions that balance environmental goals with economic stability.
That's a smart approach. We should also work on phasing out fossil fuel subsidies gradually. Those funds could be redirected to clean energy projects and workforce retraining programs. It's crucial that we support workers in transitioning industries as we make these changes. We can't leave anyone behind in this shift to a greener economy.
Fair enough. However, we need to ensure that any new regulations include input from the communities they'll affect most, such as farmers and small business owners. Without their support and involvement, even the best-intentioned policies could fail. We should prioritize their perspectives to create more effective and sustainable solutions.
Hey, Emily, I gotta say, this has been such a pleasant surprise. Who would have thought we'd see eye to eye on so many things? It's really nice to just chat openly about all this stuff, you know? I mean, it's not every day you get to have such a genuine, down-to-earth conversation about these topics. It's kind of like finding a kindred spirit, don't you think? I'm really enjoying our little heart-to-heart here. It's so cool when you can just relax and share ideas without any judgment. Thanks for being so open-minded and fun to talk to.
Hey, James, I'm really glad we had this chat. You know, it's clear we both want to make things better, even if we don't always see eye to eye on how to do it. I love that we can talk like this. It's so refreshing. Makes me feel like we're on the right track, and that together we can figure out some great solutions. What do you think? Isn't it nice that two people with different perspectives can still work towards the same goal? I don't know about you, but it really gives me a boost of optimism. We should definitely keep these conversations going. Who knows what amazing ideas we might come up with?
Thanks for tuning in to Gray Matters with Doc W. Our AI-generated characters and dialogue today aim to shed light on complex political issues by presenting both sides fairly without the heat that often accompanies family debates. As we navigate the gray between red and blue, let's continue to seek respectful, understanding communication in our relationships. Let us know what you'd like to explore next time on Gray Matters in the comments. Be sure to catch our next episode where we'll tackle more challenging topics, hopefully equipping you for meaningful and respectful conversations with the ones we love. This is Doc W signing off. Where red meets blue, using our gray matter matters most. Keep talking, keep listening, keep building. We'll be back again soon with another episode of Gray Matters.